Greetings, podsters and podlars, and welcome to Cazza and Tracy Talk Gavin and Stacey. I'm Tracy.
And I'm Cazza, Caroline.
And we're friends who, like Gavin and Stacey, met online in the noughties. We connected over small humour, over how life is funny in the minutiae of things, and we also found that we like to read and watch many of the same things. And one of those things was Gavin and Stacey, which is a show that also celebrates small humour, as well as kindness and bluster, and people being magnificently themselves in all their flawed glory. And now that the show is having its one last hurrah with a final Christmas special, we thought we'd rewatch it all, remind ourselves why we loved it, and find out whether we still do. So it's the Season 2 Christmas special, which I was very surprised to know is from Christmas 2008. And we might talk a bit more about that later, about the time that's elapsed since then. But we'll begin this podcast episode, as we always do, with Tracy's Pracy. Now, I am going to say that this is another one of those episodes that's tricky to Pracy without sounding like someone telling you their dreams. It's an hour-long episode and there's a lot of scenes, but there's two big plot developments. The first comes right in the opening scene with Gavin standing on the stairs outside an office building talking on the phone to Stacey. She's at her job in Marks and Spencer. We learn that Gavin has just been in an interview for a job in Cardiff. He's got the job and Gavin and Stacey will be moving to Wales. So this underlines a lot of the early scenes in the episode, with both of them knowing that certain of their family and friends, in particular Pam and Smithy, are not going to be as excited about this development as Gavin and Stacey are. This is a fear which proves true when an enormous argument breaks out on Christmas Eve when Gavin makes the announcement. The second major plot development comes on Christmas Day when Dave Coaches proposes to Nessa and Nessa accepts. This is an important part of Smithy's story, as he's been struggling to see his place in the world of Neil the baby, particularly as Dave is so comfortable in his parenting role. So these are two important plot developments that round out the second season and also point the way to the third season. But apart from that, this is just the perfect Christmas special, with the Gavin and Stacey universe fully realised as everybody gathers momentum for Christmas Day. There are things you won't see in anyone else's Christmas life, like Nessa's own brand of acting as Father Christmas and listening to the wishes of children, but it's also packed with fully relatable Christmas moments, but with a Gavin and Stacey flavour. We see Bryn and Gwen sharing a mint Baileys, Smithy driving around singing Christmas songs at the top of his lungs, the Welsh family travelling to Essex to spend Christmas at Pam and Mick's, Dawn and Pete dropping by for drinks on Christmas Eve, Bucks Fizz on Christmas morning, and of course, the endless discussions about the turkey. This is just a brilliant episode, and it's definitely got my Christmas off to a cracking start, and I went and got my Christmas tree out because of this. So how about you, Cazza? How was it for you?
Listen, I agree. I think this episode for me is the Gavin and Stacey. That was a great Pracy, by the way. It's about celebrating Christmas. That Christmas is really fun and really stressful and really stupid and really, full of all these traditions that you've created or that you go along with. And it just does do all of those things. I think that the thing that brought it down for me is that Pam's attack on Gavin and Stacey when they make the announcement just didn't ring true for me. And I know they had to do it because it's a great plot development and all that sort of thing. But I was listening to, I think it was Richard Osman talking about how that thing on television where you've got something important to tell the main character and they say, what, I've got to go to the hospital, and they leave, and you want to say, but an assassin's coming to your house, but they've gone. It's like, it just doesn't happen. You wait and you say, okay, what is it? Well, there's an assassin coming to your house. You say it, and I just can't believe that they would have left it in public, knowing Pam and knowing that she is an unfortunate outburster and worse when she's drunk. Why wouldn't you tell her beforehand?
Actually, that is very true. Why wouldn't Mick have counselled them to do that? Because he was, in on the sick before.
So I just got really hung up on that in my head, because Gwen knew, although she didn't know much before Pam, I think, but that was another point of tension. Mick knew before Pam. It was always going to be a disaster. And I know that you've got to write these things so you can have a great big blast off and then have a very funny fight scene. And there is a very funny fight scene when Pam and Nessa offer to have it each other. But I was just going, if you knew your mum was like that,
Yeah.
you would tell her at least before she got really drunk. Anyway, but apart from that, the other two problems for me were the Russell Brand reference and the smoking and all the smoking on the bus while there was the baby on the bus. But apart from that, I agree. It is a great Christmas special and it has got all the things that you want. But that was what was stinging at me.
Yeah.
Have I brought it down for you now?
No, not at all. Because I do agree. But the fight scene was hilarious. Do you know when they're like, I'll take you outside? And yeah, it was so good. And so everybody stepping in for everyone else. But I don't disagree with you about it's that kind of it's kind of cliched writing and filling the beats. I'm going to forgive them for it though.
Yeah. No, I mean, I absolutely do too. And the fight scene's fantastic.
Yeah.
That thing when they're all stepping in and holding each other back. And then that hilarious moment when suddenly Pete decks Dave coaches.
Yep.
And it's so unexpected.
It's excellent.
And you don't see it coming from him at all.
No. Yeah, I thought actually interestingly this morning I was just reading David Stratton, an article about David Stratton, the movie reviewer, and he was saying how he never lets his students talk about movies as dated because they're of their time. And I thought, well, that's very true actually for all of this, except the smoking is dated in a way that I don't, I haven't grown up with parents who smoked in the car. I hate it.
Well, I did, yeah. And we hated it.
Yeah, I know. And I said I hated it. And nobody,
same. Yeah. But then, in my early 20s, I smoked. Never around children. But
I think this faces a test of time really well. And I hadn't watched it for ages and I'd forgotten how much I enjoyed it. And I'm putting this with my Vicar of Dibley on my Vicar of Dibley list, which is like Christmas is open. I think it just nails those last few hours of Christmas Day and Christmas and family tensions and everything so nicely.
Yeah, I agree.
What about much in the way of character development, do you reckon?
I absolutely adored Smithy and his longing to be with this baby. Those wistful looks, the way he wanted to do things. Is this the one where he finds out that the baby's already been to the pub and he wanted to be the one to take his baby to the pub the first time?
It is.
Just the wistfulness. That's when you start to see, I think, good Smithy. Just and that, that little cute baby brought him along. And I think the other thing that I really liked was this Bryn and Jason. So Jason is Stacey's brother. They've had this fishing trip, but they just start to bridge that divide. And just those little moments when they're talking about Stacey and Jason's father and how awful he was at Christmas and wouldn't let them have anything nice and made them have pork chops and you hear that Bryn was smuggling in little presents and treats for them. And I just thought, that is just so beautiful, all of that. And the way that, Trevor is in one way a beloved missing father figure, but also it sounds like he was a very problematic father as well. And they never hit too hard on any of that too. So that I just love all that stuff. I love it.
I think it's so interesting about Trevor. I haven't heard them say anything nice about him.
No, but they speak of him really lovingly.
Really lovingly, yeah. But everything's in this context of
everything.
What he was like.
Awful. Yeah. And you just know that Gwen is well shot of him.
Yeah. But I agree the real character arc is Smithy's development, I reckon. When I watched the first season, I was really actually surprised when I rewatched it how much I disliked his character. I'd forgotten, he was so awful and I was kind of forgetting that he goes through this arc. And I think that wistfulness that you talk about, James Corden does such a beautiful job of showing the vulnerability and that kind of uncertainty, especially around Neil, but also in his feelings for Nessa.
And, I think he's really also very good at the petulance with Gav, all the jealousy and all that sort of thing. Oh, so there was another little red flag for me too, which was him trying to get his underage girlfriend back by buying her sexy underwear. It's just like,
don't do that.
I was just going, But it was interesting because I was having a chat. I was just talking about all of this with my sister and my dad. And obviously my dad's of a different generation.
Yeah.
Because the girlfriend was over 16 and he said, but that would have been legal, so it would have been fine. you know, he was seeing it from a legal point of view, and I sort of had to sit there going, oh, you know, how did he meet these? He's in his mid-20s. Was he hanging around schoolyards? You can see that's problematic, and really get up on my high horse. But it was interesting that, you know, probably at the time of making, they would have gone, well, she's over 16, so it's legal. Well, I don't even know in the UK. So anyway, what I'm saying is at that time, that was probably the law. So nobody was red flagging that.
Yeah, true.
But, you know, to try and win an underage. No, she was 18 at the point of this.
Yeah, I think by now
she's
she
had
was
her
18th.
Yeah.
The other thing I've been kind of interested about this rewatch is how much I often dislike Nessa, because my overwhelming memory of her was her fabulous way of being comfortable in her own skin in the way that we would all love to be, and just know that we never will be, however much we kind of do this, you know, whatever, I love my grey, all of this. That's what I remember about her. But she's clueless some of the time. And, you know, just anyway, so that's quite interesting. I had forgotten about that.
Which part in this episode was it the Christmas presents?
Oh, no, the Christmas presents, I feel like that's just, where everybody gets.
I loved that, that whole Christmas present thing. And her sitting there calmly going, oh, what did you get? Yeah. What did you get? Gwen
gets, because they all get a piece out of the Cadbury's favourites or whatever it is. And then Gwen says bounty, and everyone's like, oh. You know, and it would be Gwen who she'd given the bounty to.
Just a quick aside, would you be disappointed if you got the bounty?
I would. I would.
I don't mind a bounty.
Don't you? No. I will eat a bounty now, but no. There's been a long period of my life where that would make me feel the same way that you feel about avocado.
I don't have a problem with avocado.
Oh, is it mushroom? What is it you've got?
Mushroom.
Oh, mushroom, sorry. I just assume when people have a thing that it's avocado, because I know so many people have an avocado.
Really? I don't know anyone who doesn't like it.
I think because of the texture. Yeah. So this is a Christmas episode, which obviously means there's supposed to be heartwarming moments. Did you have a favourite heart moment?
Well, again, it's the iconic sing-along, that Band-Aid sing-along on the radio, and Gavin striding through the car park at the top of his lungs because Smithy's on the end of the phone. I think when I watched it, you know, I used to love that song so much, and then I think it had gone dark in my memory, like I hadn't heard it for ages. I don't think it gets played over here as much as maybe it does there.
Yeah, probably not.
I went, oh, my God, that's a really good song. And then I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, I used it as the sort of the finale for my Christmas tap routine because it was really fun and it gets everyone really feeling. Yeah. And I just had to turn around and say to my students, I know this is a culturally really insensitive song and forcing Christmas on nations starving to death is just crazy. But I said it's still a banger. And so I just love that. That's my favourite moment.
Yeah.
What about you?
I did really like that. But I also just love Stacey's childlike joy in it all. And, you know, it's time for presents. So she says, I'll give out the presents. And
I'll put them all in piles.
I'll put them,
right?
Yeah. And then
I'll go first just because I want to.
Just because I want to. Yeah. And then she says, oh, thanks, Gav. It's not my main present. It's not my main present. And then he says, but we're just having lots of little ones. She says, yeah, I know, but it's not my main little present. She's just got this. It's so 12 years old, isn't it?
Yeah. And then I got really worried that he hadn't got her a better main little.
That doesn't really resolve. No, because you do think, nothing happens with it, which there's a lot in all of these. I was thinking before, because in lots of ways, if I haven't taken notes, the episodes do blend into each other a little bit. And it's because there's lots of that stuff that just is there for that moment and then gone. For example, Pam's, her protest at the phone things, that seems to me like that could have been a running thing for ages, but they're quite happy to move on and find the next joke. What about, did you have a favourite joke or a line?
Got a few. One small joke that just was very gently bobbling along in the background of this episode was talc.
Oh,
How many people give or receive talc, especially for women, and what a shit present it really is, and whoever uses it. And Gwen's saying, well, no, you just keep it in the cupboard, but it's nice to have
in the cupboard, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, what else? Stepbrother John. So there's a card from somebody who has sent them, and it turns out to be, was it Pete's stepbrother or something?
Dawn's stepbrother, yeah.
Dawn's stepbrother.
Because that's my question. Who's John?
Oh, so sorry. Oh, I quickly think of another one.
Yeah, okay.
But just that I love it when they just take a moment and do something stupid like that.
Yeah.
Who's John? Could it be this John? Could it be that John? And then every so often they'll look at each other and go, oh, stepbrother John, and it makes sense. Obviously the fight scene when Ness and Pam are going to have a go, and Pam is suddenly exposed as a bolshy Essex lass who will go outside with you and have on with you in a, which I just, because anyone offered to fight me, I'd be,
no,
I'd be
fine. I'm
backing
good.
down so fast. There's no way I'm going outside. But Pam's up for it, and she's going to take on Nessa, which is a fool's errand.
Yeah.
Mix ears, the surprise ears. So to try and get Pam out of her great big sulk, he's trying to cheer her up, and she suddenly turns around and he's put on his Prince Charles ears, and she can't be mad with him after that.
Yep,
but it is just a great little sight gag.
It is.
Because I don't think any of us are expecting that. No. We know that they love the Charles and Camilla role play, but just that he's got the full ears. Oh, I think they have mentioned that before, but we hadn't seen them.
No,
before.
We haven't seen them.
And now we'll never not see them. And then, and I'm assuming that you're going to love this one too, is that when Pam's vegetarianism.
Yeah. It's so nice, that one. That's like another one of those really Gavin and Stacey universe things where they all are just like, yeah, we know you're not a vegetarian. And, you know, she's done this big explanation of why she's going to eat the turkey. It's all been for nothing.
Please let me eat my, this is what I'm going to say if they say anything. Please let me eat my dinner in peace the way Jesus would have wanted me to on his birthday. It's just like. And actually one person didn't know she wasn't a vegetarian, and that was Gwen.
Gwen, yeah.
She'd bought her a cookbook. What about, have you got any jokes that you loved?
The only other thing that I did really enjoy was Smithy rocking up to Marks and Spencer's where Stacey works and quickly doing all his Christmas shopping. And it was just really fun, you know, wanting a staff discount and she only gets 20%. And, I enjoyed that.
I enjoyed that. I also enjoyed him not knowing who Midge Ewer is, and he thought that he was called Majua. That made
like
me
the cheese.
Too.
I just loved every scene. Just loved it. Everything made me laugh or feel good.
Yeah. It is a good episode.
Yeah. We're at that time where it's time to ask a question, and I thought I had a great question. This also made me realise what I was getting confused about. Do you remember a little while ago, and I thought Doris's lover's name got mentioned, but it's in this episode, right at the beginning. So I want to ask you, do you know what Doris's lover's name is? And the reason I want to ask you is because I can't hear it. It says they say it, but I can't understand what they say. It's some little short syllable, but all right, I'm going to go on.
No, I think it's Scott.
Do you?
Scott, the son of Alison, Gwen's friend from Guides.
Ah, Scott. Okay. Or it is Alison, her friend from Guides.
Scott. Well, that's what I think it is.
Yep. No, I'm going to go with that. All right, what's your question for me?
Okay, what did Stace give Gav for Christmas?
Well, it's a framed portrait of some footballer who I've never heard of. So that's good enough. It's
signed Michael Dawson. I haven't heard of him either, but he's his favourite Tottenham. Wait, I think it's a Tottenham player.
It is a Tottenham player, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, Gav, I think, goes for Tottenham.
Because Smithy's West Ham.
Goes for West Ham, yeah.
Yep.
And he'd bought the tickets for that match.
Yep, and Gavin had to hide that he wasn't going to be there. Well, so that brings season 2 to its full conclusion. And because of that, and because this is a Christmas special and we're all here waiting for the new special to come out, I thought it might be a good spot to ask ourselves 2 things. First, going back to our original question, as we have done a couple of times, are you still loving Gavin and Stacey as much as you did the first time?
Absolutely.
Me too.
Yeah.
I loved this series and I loved this episode, as I've mentioned. Mind you, I am a bit of a sucker for a good Christmas episode and to just lose myself in other people's Christmas worlds, you know. That's something I don't really know of. Okay, so my other question is, do you reckon this Christmas episode gives us any hints about what we could expect for the upcoming Christmas episode? Because I'm sure they must have done their own rewatch as they prepared to see whether they'd left themselves any hints along the way.
It would be disappointing if they don't have either a sing-along or, you know, some iconic song where they're at least doing the robot in the doorway two of the characters have got to get up and sing, hopefully Ness and Bryn, but Mick and Pam singing too is also a lot of fun. So I think we could decently expect that, and I think I would be sad if there was no joyous sing-along.
So I reckon in terms of the story, I don't think there's much doubt left from this episode that Smithy is in love with Nessa. I can't work out, though, whether or not that means he's said yes to her proposal that we're all waiting for. I don't know, because I think it's going to be true to his character either way to say yes or no.
Nessa proposes to Smithy at the end of season 3.
Yeah.
That Christmas special was not as far away
from the
as
time.
this one.
No.
Like it's only, 5 years ago? So Mick and Pam have got 3 grandchildren at the end of that, and Neil the baby's a tween, I think.
In that episode he is, yeah. I was thinking he must be getting close to 20. So he could be having his own romance.
Ooh. Yeah, so for some reason I thought it had all, and then I remembered, so I've yet to rewatch that Christmas special, but it's not as far away from our present time as I had initially thought.
But from this one, like from this kind of early time, it would make sense from this one for Smithy to accept Nessa's proposal. Like I was thinking it might not be as clear, but that he is in love with Nessa is really clear in this episode. Much clearer than I remembered it.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the two of them ending up together, and I almost think that I don't want to know until it happens in front of me. Like, but I think I'll be okay either way if they don't or they do.
I'll be okay either way. I think it's, like I said, I think it's true to Smithy either way, and it's true to Nessa because we already saw her proposal and we all sort of accepted that. I think we have said it before. I don't necessarily want them to get married, I don't reckon. Anyway,
but also there's that whole thing about them having feelings for each other which might not be realised if they got into daily life with each other. Whether they actually would rub along all right, or if they just, because their disgust with each other was also very strong.
Very real. Yeah. Start. Oh, my gosh, yes. From what we've seen so far, I'm kind of good with it either way, but I also feel it's more, I quite like an ambiguous and a kind of a yearning ending. I'm always here for, I don't necessarily need my stories to be fully resolved. So I'm not unhappy with them to not end up together.
Yeah, I don't think I need resolution with them either. There's other things I do like resolution with.
Yeah. But. Well, we will be back very soon with the start of season 3. Season 3, I think, only has 6 episodes, including a Christmas special, I think. Don't quote me on it. I'll have to check. I will talk to you next time, Kazla.
Thanks, Tracy. Good fun.
Yeah, all right. See ya.
Bye.